What's going on, guys? It's been a little while since we've talked about the Z Fold 4 and the Z Flip 4 because there just really, hadn't been a lot of news, and before there wasn't a lot of news, there was so much news that I felt like I'd pretty much said everything that there was possibly there to say. But we have a little bit more to talk about today, and I'm also going to take this opportunity to really kind of round out the general knowledge, what we know about these devices as we head towards August 10th, which is when we are going to have our Samsung Unpacked event, where they will fully announce these devices. So the first bit of news I want to look at here is a tweet from Evan Blass, who is, I'm sure you know, is a very reliable leaker of information. And what he tweeted here was a list of different versions of the Fold 4 that are coming. You can see a few different things here, and one very important thing that you might miss at first glance: beige, burgundy, gray, green, phantom black as your colors, which is pretty normal, but those eagle-eyed viewers among you may have noticed a 128 gigabyte storage model. And I tweeted about this earlier on today. Let's talk about where the storage started on the Fold, right? The original Fold came with 512 gigs of storage. That was the baseline. That's a lot of storage. Fold 2 was 256, as was Fold 3. Now Fold 4 is dropping to 128. What might that mean for the launch price of the Z Fold 4? We don't know exactly where they're going to be, but you can see the price started out at that $2,000 mark, and then it went down to $1,799. Does this lay a path forward to make the Fold 4 a little bit cheaper? We know that the Z Flip 3 from the 2 to the 3 dropped in price a good amount, actually got under $1,000 by $1. So that was great to see. Obviously, I don't think that the Fold 4 is going to be under $1,000, but could it drop down to $1,499 or something in that range? I think that that is entirely within the realm of possibilities. That's a bit of information, number one, that needed to be shared. The other thing is we just have a whole bunch of new renders, a bunch of new imagery to look at. So this is the backside of the Z Fold 4, and you may notice that some of the earlier renders actually had the S22 Ultra style cameras that were separate little camera bumps. Now we've learned that it looks like they've gone back to these, basically the exact same style as they had with the Z Fold 3. This is going to look pretty much exactly the same from that angle. Take that for what it's worth. It's not going to be very visually distinct. We then got this image, which actually shows the Flip and the Fold, and we're going to talk about the Fold a little bit here first. You can see not a whole lot from this exact perspective, but trust me, it is a little bit wider and a little bit shorter than the Z Fold 3. Not a big difference. And on the Flip, again, there, not a big difference either. And then we have this press release image of the Flip 3 as well, and it looks really, really similar to the Flip 4. I might have actually said this was the Flip 3. This is the Flip 4, and it looks so similar to the Flip 3 that my brain can't even differentiate between them. But one good way to differentiate between these devices is to simply look at their specs. So let's look at the rumored specifications for the Fold 4 first and go through where they are different, where they are the same. So in terms of the outer screen and the cover screens, their measurements are the same. They're both still 120 Hz, and they're both 7.6 inches and 6.2 inches respectively. However, you can change the aspect ratio. You can widen them or shorten them and maintain the same diagonal, and that's what's happened. You're going to move the diagonal slightly in a little bit to be a little bit wider and a little bit shorter. When we talk about the weight, it's actually going to get a little bit lighter, apparently down from 9.5 ounces down to 8.9. That is significant. The Fold is a very heavy device. There are rumors that the Fold is going from a double hinge design on the hinge to a single hinge. Now, what that means in terms of engineering, I don't know. I'm not a proper engineer. How should I possibly know? But apparently, that's going to lead to a lighter device, a thinner device, and a device with a less noticeable crease down the middle, and apparently the weight there is representative of that. Looking at the cameras, we do have a pretty big difference here. So we're going from a 12 megapixel standard there for your primary to a 50 megapixel. Now, we can't just say 50 is bigger than 12, therefore it's better, but this is a better sensor. We're going to be bending down from 50, so that's going to allow more light to be caught, probably more detail, better low light, better shutter speed. All in all, should be a better camera on the primary. The ultra wide should be exactly the same, and the telephoto is going from a 12 megapixel 2x to a 10 megapixel 3x. It is, I believe, a better sensor. It's a more recent, more modern sensor. I believe it's the same sensor used in the S22 and S21. I may be wrong about that, but it's definitely been used in one of the more recent S-line telephotos. So we should be getting a pretty good upgrade there in terms of the camera performance, and that's good to see. In terms of the selfies, probably going to be really, really similar, although in terms of the specs being the same, the selfie performance might be a bit better because the actual tech of the layer above the camera might be improved a bit. If you don't know, on the Z Fold 3, the selfie camera is actually underneath the display, and what they've done is they've reduced the pixel density to kind of give you this sort of lattice screen door effect like that to take your picture through. And I know that they've been working on this in terms of, one, making that area more easily disguised, so actually increasing the pixel density to make it look a bit harder to spot, but also they're supposed to be working on ways to make the image quality better. I don't know how they're going to do both of those at the same time. We're going to have to wait to see what happens there. In terms of storage, we've already talked about this, 256 down to 128. This is the baseline. You can still go up higher. RAM stays the same, battery stays the same. SoC goes from the 888 to the 8 Plus Gen 1, which is the fastest thing on the market. Hopefully some better efficiency there as well. Maybe a little bit better battery life because of that, but that will also remain to be seen. Moving over to the Flip 4, it's a lot less exciting because almost everything is the same. Your interior screen is pretty much exactly the same, and I wrote outer screen on both of these, I'm not realizing, and that doesn't make any sense. That is an inner screen, but whatever, it's too late for that now. But anyways, those screens are the same size. The cover screen is going from 1.9 inches to 2.1, so that little cover display on the outside is going to get a little bit bigger. We don't know the weight. The cameras are apparently staying exactly the same as before. Selfie, same thing. Storage is the same. RAM is the same. The battery might be going from 3,300 milliamp hours to 3,700. And coupling that with the new system on a chip, the battery life might see a decent improvement there as well, which is something that a lot of people would love to see on the Flip line. And that's pretty much what we know right now about the Flip 4 and the Fold 4. Like I said, August the 10th, we're going to know a whole lot more because that's when they're going to fully unveil those two devices. Stay tuned for coverage of that. Perhaps I'll do a live stream of that event so we can watch along together. Guys, thanks for watching. Don't forget to subscribe, and until next time, stay nerdy, my friends.